Hello, everybody. It's me, Mr. Peets. So I'm going to show you the second portion of this project. You'll see that I have the first portion completed. You could see that on the bottom half of this assignment. It's not anywhere else. It's still on this. It's still written on the same assignment. So please make sure you have this portion done, and then you could see that I have my photo off to the side. And then I can work from here. I can actually trace different shapes using that polyline tool and then drag it and put it on top of here. But remember that this is like layers. You have to consider the layers themselves. So whatever you put down first, that's going to be on the bottom of whatever else you put on top. So if you put a shape down and then you put a shape that's going to be on top of that, that's going to overlap. You can't put the first shape on top of the second shape. The second shape is always going to be on top. So you want to make sure that you keep that in mind. Now, we're just going to add, I don't want to say the word details because remember, Impressionism is not about details at all. So what I want to do is just look at a couple of things in this drawing, or I'm sorry, in this photo that I can take and I can add to this. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my polyline tool. All right, and then the first thing I want to do is I'm looking at some of these trees back here. So I'm going to just kind of grab this tool. And again, I had some of you guys were asking me, how do you get the polyline tool to, not just end in the middle of me trying to plot points. And what I'm, basically try to keep those corners up far away from each other. You'll see that I didn't keep too many of those points close. And then I'm going to go right back to that original spot. And again, I know I do this a million times, but you'll see how it snaps at the end. And once you click, it becomes one solid shape. I'll grab my arrow tool and I will drag it. And I know that that was over here somewhere. Now, I only did the trees that were back here. I want to do the building here on top of that. So I know that I can overlap some of those shapes. So I'll put this over here. And I know that those trees are kind of like a little bit of a darker green. So I'll go over to my fill color and I'm going to get a darker green somewhere around here. Okay, perfect. And now I'm going to go ahead and trace that shape of the building. You see I went too close. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to keep them even further apart. So I don't even care about the amount of details that go into this because again, we're impressionists here. So I'm not concerned about that. And then I'm going to close this up just like that. Take my arrow tool and drag this over and I want it right here on top of the, like right there. Okay, and then I'm going to make this sort of like a darker color. Maybe like a brownish color, just to kind of keep it in place. Okay, so now it still looks very loose, but again, in Impressionism, I'm not concerned about all those details. Like this barely even looks like a building. That's okay. All right, all I'm concerned about is you just getting a few of these elements and placing them into your image. I'll go ahead and grab my polyline tool. I want to look at maybe this portion right here. So it's like this sort of big, flat, sort of like plateau shape that's right here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and follow the edge of the frame and bring it right back to the beginning. Get my arrow tool and drag it over. Okay. And that I'm going to make sort of like a light brown color. So I'll go over to my fill. Maybe I'll do something like that. All right, and again, you could always change the colors after you've put them down. It's not like they're, stuck that way. Like I can choose that and go back to my fill color and be like, you know what, this brown needs to be even lighter. So I'll go to my custom and I will actually find a little bit of a lighter brown. Maybe I might drag this over, the hue over towards this so that my brown's a little more redder and make it something like this. Okay, that's a good color right there. Hit OK, boom, I got the color I wanted. So there are ways to kind of play around with this, and I can even go back and change it again if I want to. All right, so after you go ahead and you can pick out some of the trees and do the same thing, just like I did here. Add some of those extra trees in here like that. Um, Anything that's really, really far away, I'm not too concerned with. You don't even have to really worry about that. If you have any dramatic clouds, you might be able to add a few things, but really, I'm more concerned about what's in the foreground. If you keep what's in the foreground, um, and put those things, those elements in the foreground and not necessarily worry about the background, I'm not going to make a big deal out of that. Because it's closer to you, so it's much more emphasized. You're going to see a lot more stuff in that area. All right. So don't feel like you have to do every tiny little tree. Just you can even pick like maybe this clump of trees right here, and then this part, there's a clump of trees right here. And you can make that all one shape. All right. Kind of think of it that way. And you can go even deeper and deeper into this whole thing. Like I can put a couple more elements along the house. Like, for example, if I get my polyline tool and I wanted to just do, just like grab some of these like window shapes here. Okay, now that's a shape, and then I'll grab my arrow tool, drag that, put that right on top of the windows. Now, and I can even manipulate this, like if I wanted to fit to the shape of what I did previously. All right. Now, again, this doesn't look exactly like a house. And I'm not trying to make you guys focus so much on the detail. That's super, super important. I want this more on the grayer side, maybe a little darker, like that. So I can play around with all those shapes. Now, before I end with this, what I want you to do is with the arrow tool highlighted, I want you to click over everything, okay? And I want you to get rid of those border lines. So go over here, which is the border color, click that, and then click transparent. Once you do that and click off, all those lines are gone, and you have only those shapes with those colors. And it'll look really cool. Now, I'm, of course, can do a lot more work than this, but I think you guys get the general point of just going in here, tracing a couple of the elements, dragging it over, change the color. Go in here, grab another element, trace it with the polyline, drag it over, change the color, and so on and so forth until you feel that this is like something that is ready to turn in, okay? I obviously want you to do a lot more than what I just did here, but I would like to see what you guys come up with. And again, do not worry about those little tiny things. I don't care about the single tree. I care about the clumps of trees, okay? I don't care necessarily about maybe one little row of hills here. I care about the clump that I see over here. So don't go too crazy. Because as an impressionist, remember the impressionist did not focus on detail. So I know I said that a million times, but it's super important. All right. And then once you are done, I think I would like you to keep the photo in. So keep the photo in because when I upload it onto my website, at least I'll have that reference and I might add it to your image, have it next to each other so it's comparable. All right, if you guys know exactly where I am, so please, if you need help with anything, I could jump right onto your file and I can do whatever you need to do. All right, so I'll be around tomorrow. So yeah, happy drawing on Google Drawings.